CountryWide CONNECT with Andy Thompson and Sarah Perriam-Lampp.
A monumental event in New Zealand agriculture, the signing of the free trade agreement with India. What does that mean for honey exports? What's the opportunity? Joining me right now is Karin Kos, who is the CEO, I said, of Apiculture New Zealand. Karin, g'day, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
No, thank you very much for having me on. And timing couldn't be perfect with the signing of the free trade agreement.
Exactly.
As you said, it's fantastic for primary producers, and it will be fantastic for honey producers as well, honey producers and beekeepers. Currently, we pay 66% tariff to send any honey to India. For Manuka honey, that's going to reduce to 16.5% over 5 years. So that is a huge drop for us, and it's a huge market, isn't it? It's a growing wealthy market. So Manuka honey is very, very well positioned to take advantage of that population and that reduced tariff rate.
Yeah, interesting. Manuka honey was a massive, probably almost like a boom industry over the last few years. It's suffered a little bit in the last 2 or 3 years. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but that's my understanding of it. This is going to help out significantly. At the moment, what are we exporting to India? How do you do it? Kilos, tons? I'm not sure how you measure it.
Yeah, it's very little. It's hardly negligible because of the tariff rate, right? So it's effectively a new market for us. And you're right, times have been tough for the industry. We had about sort of 4 years ago, we started to see some huge oversupply of honey. And after COVID, just the stocks were too high for demand. The global economy was still suffering. And so we did struggle, and we saw, actually, just looking at the numbers recently, in 2019, hive numbers, for example, hit to close to 1 million. And today they're sitting at half, about 500,000. So there's been a huge adjustment in our industry just in terms of the demand picture. But interestingly enough, we've had a pretty bad season, but the honey is in demand, and signings like this, it's only going to be good for our producers.
So what's the first step then? Your industry, get over there. You've got support from MPI, obviously, to make a pitch to get our Manuka honey sold.
Yes, yeah. So, look, what we've done is we've just made sure we're part of any discussions that MPI are having with India. We've, provided any advice and any support. Our chair, who is Nathan Guy, he has already been over there, and he'll probably be going over there again. And also we've got exporting companies that have been over as well. So, the best thing we can do is just make the connections and keep talking and keep working, just making ourselves very available to trade.
Karin, you talked about Manuka honey. What about normal honey? I mean, I'm showing my ignorance here, but, the honey that I go and buy from the supermarket that's not Manuka honey.
Yes,
what's the opportunity there?
Look, I think the opportunity there is as big as Manuka, but I think let's be realistic. About 90% of our honey that is exported is Manuka.
Right. So
there's a very small amount. Yes. So there's but look, this is also over time an opportunity to grow those other great honeys that we have, from the sort of local sort of clover honeys right through to some of the, the native honeys, the ratas, the bahutakawas. So I guess the first point to make is that the tariff reduction comes to force for Manuka honey, because obviously it's the biggest part of the pie. So that will be the focus for us initially.
So the other honey varieties have still got a tariff on them, or not?
They will still have a tariff on them, yes.
The higher one?
Yes,
okay.
Yes. So this agreement is focused on Manuka honey, given it is 90% of effectively it's our export market.
Yeah, and obviously with the health benefits of that, because it's so. Where are we at with the I recall a discussion about this, that trademarking the name Manuka, is that still done? Is that done now, or we've still got some problems there?
So we haven't been able to trademark Manuka honey from New Zealand, Aotearoa New Zealand. But what we have been able to do with the actions that we've taken in the past, we have been able to signal whenever something has come up overseas that it's not appropriate to call it Manuka honey. We've used some of the legal precedents, and that has actually helped. So while we don't have the trademark as such, we are still actively pursuing it, but we're also actively pursuing free trade agreements, for example, with the EU. We've done a free trade agreement with the EU, and they recognise that Manuka honey comes from New Zealand. There's also further down the track geographical indications, so we're looking at that as well. And it's very much an iwi-driven project as well, along with the sector. So it's a partnership. I think that's the only way we're really going to get that over the line.
Yeah, I still don't fully understand it. I mean, it's obviously the same precedent as champagne from France, right? Manuka is an iwi an iwi term, and I just don't understand why we haven't, and because the Aussies are the ones that fought it so hard, right? If I remember rightly, they wanted it not to be trademarked. Well, bugger them, to be honest.
Well, look, we feel the same way about that, and so the battle is ongoing. We have, I think, made some really good progress, but really I think it is about us taking it to the next step, and the fact that we can get it embedded in free trade agreements, that we can get it potentially embedded in a geographical indication, which is effectively what champagne is. Yeah. That's really probably the way for us to go.
Yeah, because that's the way they did it as well, and certainly other, I think there's cheeses and all sorts of things from, geographical regions which have been put. So just on the industry then, just moving away from the trade, what is the state? You talked about 1 million hives dropping down to 500,000. We know there's been some blight, some pests. Where are we at with that part of the sector?
Yeah, so every year we have what is called the Colony Loss Survey. And so that looks at the overall bee health of our industry, and that's really important. That's the fundamentals of any industry. And so we're sitting at about 12.8% losses for the year, which is a little bit higher than we would have liked, but certainly not as high as it has been in the past. And one of the big issues there for us is Varroa. So 7% of losses are attributed to Varroa, and that's become a huge issue for beekeepers. They've had to treat a lot more. The costs have gone up of treatment. It's a really tricky pest to, you're not going to eradicate it, but it's a really tricky pest to manage. So I think bee health absolutely critical. But also on the other side of things, it's the, for example, the threats of the yellow-legged hornet.
That was my next question. Yeah,
yes,
we heard a lot about the hornets, and obviously that has been, and I haven't heard much lately. So where are we at with the hornets?
So look, 6 months ago, if you'd asked me that question, it was, oh my gosh, we're really heading into sort of doom and gloom times. We've had really tricky last couple of years, challenging conditions. The last thing we need is the yellow-legged hornet. But very pleased to be able to say that over the last 4 weeks, MPI, who's been running the campaign, have basically said they've found no nests over the last 4 weeks. And that's really, really, I think that's great news for us. It doesn't mean we're out of the woods at all, but it does mean that actually all of the work and effort that's gone into that 6-month eradication program, and it has been huge and it has been significant, been effective.
It is interesting, isn't it? Like MPI and the biosecurity component of that organisation probably flies under the radar quite a bit, but when they swing into action, they're serious, aren't they? There's no mucking around. They really get it, and they've got a good track record of succeeding.
I think absolutely, and the fact that Minister for Biosecurity Andrew Hoggard came in and put $12 million towards it, fantastic. So they were able to put the resources, the numbers on the ground, some of the new technologies, the radio tracking, AI cameras, the ability to put Vespex baits down. I think throwing everything at it, but notably people on the ground, that has been, I think, very effective.
Yeah, absolutely. So did we know where the hornets came from? Is that being tracked?
No, no. There's lots of speculation, but actually we don't. And like I said, we have to still be very, very cautious. I think I would say there's comers, but we will need to be vigilant over the next year or two. And so Apiculture New Zealand, along with the other beekeeping organisation, New Zealand Beekeeping Inc., and our AFB team have been working very closely with MPI now, just looking at that longer term surveillance. What do we need to do as beekeepers, as the public, to keep an eye on this?
All right, Karin Kos, the CEO of Apiculture New Zealand, you're doing a fantastic job. Great to see that free trade agreement is going to support the beekeepers and the Manuka honey, but just keep going with that beautiful white clover honey. That's my favourite, the white clover honey. So that's beautiful on toast. So, yeah, and butter. Yeah, all the good stuff.
I couldn't agree with you more. No, it's fantastic. Thank you.
Karin, thanks so much for your time. We'll talk to you again, and good to see the support coming through for that industry.
CountryWide Connect with Andy Thompson and Sarah Perriam-Lampp.